Today's video dedication is brought to you with thanks from Dan Kirch. Ratadrabik of Urborg versus Eternal Schemer, partners Tormod and Ghost of Ramirez DePietro, and Vohar Vodalian Desecrator. 3-lander, sack outlets. I don't really like the hand, but there's no reason to ship that back really. Always paranoid about mulliganing into a hand with no lands in it. A Wayfarer's Bauble from Vohar, and then it's just a couple of tap lands from our opponents. We draw into Sir Conrad the Grim, so we're playing the long game in this one. Vohar cracks the Wayfarer's Bauble, Vampiric Rites for the other Dimir player, and we see a Talisman of Progress for Xur. Okay, we're just going to draw into all of our expensive stuff apparently, Machaeus the Unhallowed this time. So might as well get out Eily, Eternal Pilgrim. And the first commander of the game coming into play, the Phyrexian Merfolk. Following that up with Lazotep Chancellor. Tormod and Ramirez just passing through the turn there. And Xur continues to ramp with a Dimir Signet, playing out an Obscura Storefront as well. Alright, that's a decent draw to play on our turn 3. We don't need more than one sack outlet in play at once, so play out the Blade of Selves here. And we go through to the end step for the Vohar player, and their commander is blown up by a Go for the Throat over here. So holding up 5 mana, then it's Frantic Search during the main phase for the partner player. Floating a black mana at the moment. Discarding a Dread Return for later. There's also a Hakon Stromgarde Scourge here, which can only be played from the graveyard. So I'm guessing it's not a night deck. They must be running the artifact that makes your creatures all creature types, so that they can actually take advantage of Hakon and turning all the creatures in the bin to knights. I'm assuming that that's what they're aiming for. Then casting at Ramirez DePietro. Apologies to any Spanish-speaking viewers here. Decanter of Endless Water, no max hand size, and add a mana of any colour. And then cast is Eternal Schemer. Okay, get into a land, so I think it's probably an intelligent idea to get down our commander, even though we're not necessarily going to be doing much of anything with it. The Dimir player didn't do anything during that last turn cycle. They have got down a Field of Ruin, which is relevant. And down comes their commander once more. A main phase cycling of Desert of the Mindful for the partner player. And then casting a Dark Ritual with 3 cards in hand. So then we see them cast Tormod the Desecrator, having both of their commanders in play here. And now the Pirate swinging in towards the Xur player. And that can't be blocked thanks to the 4 toughness, so triggers the Ramirez. And a card did come back into their hand there because they landed damage, so yeah, the Desert of the Mindful comes back into hand. They discarded it this turn, play it this turn, and when it left the graveyard, they made a zombie token to the Tormod. Alright, and surprisingly, see a Dam there. I don't know why they played out their Xur just to blow the board up. That seems like a strange play to me. I thought we were reasonably safe getting our Ratadrabik into play. I think I will actually leave it in play because I don't think anyone will counter a Living Death. Anyway, Ratadrabik triggers because Eily died there, and we see a 2/2 zombie token version of Eily hit play. Managing to make another land with high market, so do we just go for Sir Conrad the Grim? And then we could maybe go God Eternal Bond 2 next turn. Sacrifice a couple of things, draw a couple of cards, set up a Living Death. It's a slow, clunky way of doing things, but we'll play out the Sir Conrad either way. And now our opponent's wiped our board, will show disdain towards them, and we'll swing in at Xur with our 2/2. Noteworthy that the Ramirez DePietro has been put into the graveyard, whereas Tormod has been put into the command zone. Tauran the Sky Summoner from Vohar. Skipping through the partner player's turn again, we see Grim Guardian hit play for the Xur player, followed by a Clever Impersonator. That comes down to a copy of Grim Guardian, each of those triggers, so we all lose 2 life. Alright, an Arcane Signet, make a little bit of mana with that, so we can go for the Arcane Signet. And then let's go Blade of Selves onto the Sir Conrad the Grim. Tormod is holding up mana here, so we might lose Sir Conrad, but we're setting up dumping things in the graveyard for a Living Death anyway. Could see some exile from the blue player though. Okay, Mouth of Monum, so we get them to sacrifice a land there. And they're going to go for the Flame Slash onto our Sir Conrad the Grim. So this seems like a typical controlling game where everyone's using all their removal early on. We will punish them for that by going in with the Eily straight in towards them. Cerulean Wisps being cast. Target creature becomes blue until the end of the turn. Draw a card. So literally just cantripping and making a Drake token. Following that up with a Vamp Tutor, making another Drake token. Cabal Ritual now, during their turn, will make them, yeah, only 3 black mana there. And out comes their commander once again. A Drake going in at each of our other 2 opponents, dealing 2 damage apiece to each of them. Now Tormod casting the Modern Age, draw then discard a card. So now we see a Deathmark Prelate, and I hope that... good. I just saw a Bajuka Bog, and we're seeing this graveyard get exiled, so don't lose our creatures there. Ratadrabik would have gone back into the command zone, but yeah, really glad that we didn't see the back of our graveyard there. A Hakon being cast from the bin. And now over by the enchantment player, it is Caliphate, Beloved of the Sea. That obviously triggered the Grim Guardians as well. And get into some more mana, so we can go for the God Eternal Bond 2. Maybe we go God Eternal Bond 2 and then next turn put the Blade of Selves on it, try and encourage some more removal from our opponents. Alright, so we can go for some ramp here in Orzhov's Signet. Go for the God Eternal Bond 2 as well. Maybe we get some more removal out of our opponent's hand. Anyway, we'll throw down the Orzhov's Signet. So getting out the Orzhov's Signet, we'll play God Eternal Bond 2. And I'll sacrifice our token Eiley just for the sake of drawing a card here. And that gets us into more big stuff. Kakusho, the Evening Star. I was hoping for a land there, to be honest. Dark Ritual being cast for triple black mana. Using that mana to cast an Archfiend of Ifnir, which cares about discarding stuff and cycling things. So now activating the Vohar. I think that's the first time they've done it this game. It'd be good to see some more removal out of our opponent's hands onto another creature, a Void Rend. Destroy a target non-land permanent, so this is why I'm slow rolling it out with the Living Death, because I'm slowly letting my opponents get rid of all their interaction on each other. 3 cards here, 3 here, and now 0 cards from the Esper player. They discarded a Deep Analysis, by the way, which has flashback of 2 and pay 3 life to draw 2. So now, as punishment, the 3 Drake creatures, swinging straight over the top of these creatures, dealing 6 damage to Zur, then casting the Deep Analysis from the graveyard, so Talran continuing to do work over there. They now have 5 cards in hand. They drop a land, now have 4 cards in hand, and down to 3 cards after casting a Dimir Signet. The Modern Age triggers at the beginning of the partner player's turn. Withered Wretch discarded. So yeah, preferably want to do the whole Living Death thing before this comes back out. Transmuting Muddle the Mixture, so they can search for a spell that has 2 CMC here. I think it's any spell. Yeah, a card with the same mana value. And they searched up a Nameless Inversion there. So they're going for some kind of weird tribal thing there. I don't know what type of tribe they would want to trigger, what kind of tribal effect they would want to trigger with Nameless Inversion. Oh, you can cast night spells from your graveyard. Alright, so as long as Hakon's in play, they can cast Nameless Inversion over and over again. They blew up the Talrand with that, by the way. So that might just be the tech that they're looking for, Hakon and Nameless Inversion. And then every time they cast this, it will trigger the Tormod, or Tormod. Yeah, that's probably all they're doing with it. Zur, Eternal Schemer coming into play again. There is some blue mana being held up here. They would have to have top-decked into a counterspell, but I think we have to pull the trigger on this Living Death finally. All of these swinging in at the Talrand player now, over to the left. So a 1-4, a 1-4, and a 3-3. Death Touch, Hexproof and Lifelink on all of those, thanks to the Zur. And then cracking the Esper Panorama, so don't have to worry about any blue mana being held up here. Not going to get a better shot than this. Okay, Felwar Stone. Yeah, we can get a bit of mana out here. Alright, just go through to the combat step. Might as well deal a little bit of combat damage here. God Eternal Bond 2 going to deal 5 damage to the Zur player. And then we will sacrifice the Bond 2 with the High Market. And we've still got 5 mana held up. Not going to put it third from the top because we're about to reanimate it, of course. Gain a life from the High Market. And we will cast ourselves a Living Death. So swapping everything around here. We do reanimate the Withered Wretch, unfortunately, so yeah, we're going to have to be wary of that. They lose 2 life to the Hakon being killed off. And then our God Eternal Bond 2 enters play again. If it wasn't for this thing, then I might actually be tempted to sacrifice some stuff here. Yeah, I mean, we've got a sack outlet in your Henny, so yeah, let's get rid of Eiley. Draw an extra card here. So that will trigger the Ratadrabik. We'll get a copy of the Eiley. We did draw into a land for the turn. We've been missing lands, so dealt a damage to everyone with the Sir Comrade. Play the command tower, and yeah, I think we're alright to just pass the turn there. Noteworthy that God Eternal Bond 2 is a zombie, so does get vigilance from our commander. Teferi's Ageless Insight from the Dimir player. They'll draw twice as many cards from now on. Well, that's charming. We give them back their Archfiend of Ifnir and their Talrand the Sky Summoner, and they swing straight in at us with a 5/4 flyer. So I wonder if we just made ourselves the arch enemy there. Enter the God Eternals from the partner player. 4 damage to a target creature and you gain life equal to the damage dealt this way. So if we sacrifice in response, are we going to counter this thing? They're trying to mill themselves here. I mean, we're not doing anything else with the mana. We could pretend to hold up something, but yeah, I'd rather just sacrifice with the Eiley. Unfortunately, they're able to exile the Sir Conrad from our graveyard, but we will gain a little bit of life here. 4 life, equal to the toughness from Eiley. Ratadrabik makes a copy of it. Noteworthy that this thing has flipped round as well, by the way, during their upkeep. That is a 2/3 flyer. Flip round from the modern age. We've got 9 cards in the graveyard now, so we'll see if this thing gets countered. Alright, they still get the mill, so Sir Comrade is going to trigger a couple of times there. And they go up to 14 cards in the bin. So now we see a Necromancer's Stockpile in the bin. Erebos Bleak-Hearted. Grey Merchant of Asphodel. And an Inventive Iteration as well. Yeah, we look like we're the arch enemy here. They were going to swing in with Ramirez at us. Yep, and then deciding to do that. So we let them hit us. They are going to grab back, what was that? The Inventive Iteration that was put in there this turn. And then exiling, as we thought they would, the Sir Conrad the Grim. This version of Sir Conrad did trigger there. Luckily we can get multiple copies of this out with the Blade of Selves. Assuming that we can actually swing in, that is. Zur Eternal Schemer into play again, we can swing into that. And we know that they don't have anything else because they've held up the Dimir Signet, which they can't do anything with. Alright, a land is good to make as well. So I think I like the idea of going for Kakusho and then trying to land the Machias next turn. So let's put Blade of Selves onto the Sir Conrad the Grim. And then we'll go through to the combat step here, so we can just swing. Everything has vigilance, so why don't we just try and deal with one player at a time instead of trying to spread the damage all over the place. We can go in towards Myriad will trigger on the Sir Conrad, so Sir Conrad swings in there, a Sir Conrad swings in there as well. The 2/3 Vector blocks the Sir Conrad that is swinging in towards them. Highly doubt we'll get Talrand to block, and then pulling their blockers back for whatever reason, and deciding to throw the 4/4 in the way instead. Zur blocks the Sir Conrad as well. So we lose a token version of Sir Conrad, which triggers the other 2 Sir Conrads, so we deal 2 damage to each of our opponents with that. And then the other one gets exiled. That doesn't trigger anything. We only care about having things milled and discarded and destroyed. Exile doesn't do anything because it doesn't enter the graveyard. I think our opponents are going to be looking for a board wipe now anyway, so let's play out the Kakusho, the Evening Star. And that's going to be a good sack outlet target for us. It's a good Blade of Selves target as well. I'd rather have the Machias in play though. We can do both next turn I think, can't we? Both Machias and Blade of Selves onto Kakusho. Now, I've still got the double card draw from Teferi's Ageless Insight, so we'll see what the Talrand and Archfiend player is trying to do. Just getting out their commander yet again. I think they've only had a chance to activate that once this game. Harkon being cast again by the Tormod player. They do have access to that Nameless Inversion still, which is +3/-3. So getting rid of the sack outlet. That was the token version of Eiley. I mean, we still have one in the high market, and we've got one in our hand as well, which I've kept out of play on purpose. They get a token copy of Bojuka Bog from Vesuva, and now they exile our graveyard. It's a bit late for that. That triggered the Sir Conrad the Grim because our Eiley left the bin. Then it is a Dread Return. They sacrifice 3 creatures in order to reanimate another one. They are reanimating Grey Merchant of Asphodel. So going to drain everyone for quite a bit. Lightning Bolt was dealt by Sir Conrad the Grim because 3 creatures died there. So they've got 3/4 black pips. So Zur goes down to 2. The partner player goes down to 9. It's going to be a 1v1 soon by the looks of it. Noteworthy that they did sacrifice their Withered Wretch as well as their Hakon. Okay, and Zerg just decided to scoop it there. They figured they're about to die anyway, which is fair enough. We see a Myriad Landscape, way too late for that. Let's equip the Blade of Selves. Everyone's tapped out, I think. Yep, so Blade of Selves onto Kakusho. And then we'll get the Henny into play because we want a sack outlet here. Shame that we don't have the Machias because that would go really well with the Kakusho here, but alright, there is a 5/4 flyer over there. We're about to deal with this player anyway, so we'll try and get rid of the 2/3 flyer. And we'll swing in towards the Dimir player, the other Dimir player. So of course Myriad triggers, and we only get one copy of the Kakusho here. This is where it's actually relevant that the Xur player technically shouldn't really have scooped there, because we do get, or would have gotten an extra Kakusho from the Myriad, so yeah, it is relevant that they scooped there, unfortunately. Which one do we want to keep? The original one with the Blade of Selves on it. So Sir Conrad the Grim triggers because a creature died. Kakusho, the token copy, will trigger. And then Ratadrabik will also trigger because that was a legendary version that died. So in comes a non-legendary 2/2 version. Drain everyone for 5. We go up to 36. The 2/3 blocks, so I managed to get that thing out of the way. That thing dies, so Sir Conrad the Grim going to trigger once again because another creature's died. Yahenni gets a plus counter because a creature died as well. And then the copy of Kakusho is about to get exiled, so we will activate the Yahenni and sacrifice the Kakusho before it gets exiled, so we still get the death triggers. Sir Conrad and the token copy of Kakusho is going to trigger, and we get rid of this player because it is still a 5 drain even though it's only a 2/2. Yahenni gains indestructible there, not that it really matters. Now I'm not sure if we would have been in a position to win that turn if we'd actually had another Kakusho in play. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Inventive iteration now. Return up to 1 creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. We'll see what they aim for here. Oh, actually, we might be able to still do it here. We've got 5 damage that this will drain our opponent for. The copy will do 5 as well, and then we can... Yeah, okay, let's just go for it now that I'm actually thinking. This is the first time I've played Ratadrabik, so don't know if I'm necessarily wrapping my head around everything correctly. They're trying to bounce our commander here, so sacrifice the Kakusho. Ratadrabik will trigger, as well as the Kakusho, as well as the Sir Conrad as well. So dealing 6 damage to them there. And then we've got Ward 2 on the Ratadrabik, so let's make them pay the 2 mana. We might have forgot about the ward. Okay, yeah, just decide to let that go, so see what else they've got, but I'm pretty sure we've got our opponent here at this point. So out comes Hakon again. Yeah, just for the fun of it, we will sacrifice the God Eternal Bontu to get a copy of that with Ratadrabik. That will trigger the Sir Conrad, dealing a damage to our opponent. The copy of God Eternal Bontu comes into play. We will sacrifice this Kakusho, Ratadrabik, and the Yahenni as well. We might as well sack. And this will draw us some cards, as well as get some more triggers. Our commander can go back into the command zone after we just sacrificed it. Ratadrabik going to bring in some more copies of stuff, so Conrad triggers 4 times here. And then we've got the Kakusho on the stack as well, so definitely have our opponent here. Alright, and there we go. Massive thank you to my opponents for playing it out for the most part. Slightly early scoop from Xur, but I don't think it really mattered in the end. Okay, we saw, I think they drew an additional card or 2 there, but seeing what's in our opponent's hand, we drew into, from the God Eternal Bontu, a Yawgmoth, a Yosei the Morning Star, and an Austere command. So, a little bit of a clunky game. We didn't really get into a whole lot of mana very quickly, but we were up against Dimir and Esper players as well, so it's not like they were about to ramp ahead and go crazy. If you want to see more from Ratadrabik, I know it's probably going to be a popular one, then be sure to let me know in the comments section. Are there any cool plays that you've made with Ratadrabik? I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.